Hello. This week I will be covering days 39 to 45 and best document as I can the political happenings the world over. And the reason that I need to do alliances is because they change, right? The world is in a constant state of flux, and different houses are breaking up with other houses and realigning themselves with new friends all the time, and vice versa. They're making new enemies all the time, maybe from some former friends. So it is important that I cover who is allied with whom. Starting off with House 2, there have been tensions between House 2 and their sister house, House 7, but all of them have been resolved peacefully at one time. House 2 is demanding that a lot of the House 7 players actually leave the house, but it seems they're able to work out their problems or their differences, and they're back on good terms. And as far as I know, they're still sister houses. And the same applies to House 12. Now, last week, I believe I asked some of you to let me know what the deal was with House 12. And what I'm hearing from a few different sources now is that House 12 is a sister house of House 2 as well. So you have pretty much a big house, a conglomerate of House 2, House 7, and House 12. And they're all players from the same house. A lot of them originate from Germany originally, in real life, I believe. And not only do they exist in Central Europe, but they also have largely taken over North America in Canada. Moving down to the United States now. House 15 controls the United States yet, and House 18 is their sister house. Now, House 15 and House 2, the predominant houses in both of those alliances, because there are many alliances within there, sister houses of the sort, but the predominant house in that alliance, you could think of it like nesting dolls, is the one that I'm using to demonstrate the relationships between other complicated alliances. And there are quite a few complicated alliances on the map. So yeah, House 15 and House 2 are both on good terms with each other, despite the best efforts of House 10 to drag House 2 into a war with House 15, making certain promises. And I don't want to drag House 10's reputation through the dirt. It is a rather one-sided account that I have borne witness to, and I haven't heard the full story from House 10's side, but it would appear back earlier this month, towards the start of November, the House 10 was interested in sort of allying with House 2 with the intent of taking on House 15. It really is important because it explains House 10's complicated relationship with House 15. And at the moment, I mean, if you had to put it in a Facebook profile, I guess, it would have to be, it's complicated, because they're not enemies, but at the same time, there have been conflicts, and I will be covering an additional one a bit later. Now, House 15 is currently fighting House 1. Now, how House 15 got involved in this war is still a little bit dubious to me, but I believe it has a lot to do with their recent friendship with House 3. Now, House 3, I'm not sure if it's a sister house of the House 2, House 7, House 12 alliance, or just an ally, but they are on good terms with House 2, House 7, and House 12, as evidenced by their House Marshal being in Canadian House 2 territory. And if you recall, much earlier in the game, House 1 was fighting House 3 over here in the Middle East and in Africa. But a lot of those lands that were formerly controlled by House 3 are now controlled by House 15, so it's pretty much understandable that House 15 would actually end up at war with House 1. Moving up to, well, Russia, I guess we'll call it, House 19 is still the predominant controlling house in that alliance, and they are allied with House 5, House 8, and House 13. Moving down to, say, Africa, we have House 11, which is largely made up of UK World 1 players. They are still on their own, and they're still holding out against House 9, who is still at war with them. And that sort of brings me up here to House 9. House 9 is still allied with House 6, but House 6 has lost territory they used to control in India. It may have been as a result of the war between them and House 19, and it is important to note that House 14 has been pretty much removed from the map. I see they control that Greek island, and since Firefly did us the favor of not putting it in English, I forget the name of it, so I'm not going to bother pronouncing it. Sorry. It sucks that I don't know that. Is it the island of Crete? I'm sure somebody will know. But the point being is that House 14, who's still an ally of House 9, their sister house, they're gone pretty much from the map. And this plays into the fact that House 9 made peace now with House 19. But they did incur some severe losses. Now, if you remember the map before House 19 declared war on House 9 and their sister houses, 14 and 6, controlled the majority of Europe and, of course, the majority of India. That is no longer the case. Now, House 19 has pushed into both of those areas, and some of them, as you can see here in Central Europe, that fractured off and joined House 2. So then we come down to House 17 in Africa, and they're part of the Australian House of, obviously, they're House 17. And word has it that House 17 has friends in House 11 and in House 2. I've heard both of them cite House 17 as an ally, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that they are allied. Of course, House 16 is still a sister house of House 17, and I'm getting conflicting reports once again about House 20's position in all of this. They are either allied with House 17 or with House 19. Being allied with House 17 makes sense if you look at the close proximity of these two houses in Africa, and they're being allied with House 19 would make the same amount of sense if you look at House 20's position in House 19 territory here. I mean, they're pretty much surrounded, that little spot that they hold. And it seems my game client froze up there for a second. So I think that pretty much covers the alliances. As a quick recap, we still have House 2 and House 15, very good allies. House 10 and House 9, probably good allies. House 17 and House 11, probably good allies. And then, of course, House 19 doesn't really need any good allies outside of their own sister houses, right? Because they control a lot of land. Unfortunately, House 1 is still by its lonesome. And that pretty much brings us to events that happened in the past week. As you recall, the week before last week, House 19, and I mentioned this before, they declared war on House 9 and House 9's allies. And it was a very complicated sort of war because it was preemptively declared on the Scandinavian peninsula without any actual backlash from House 9 after House 19 claimed that peninsula from House... what? The Beasts. House 14. That's House 14, right? I just want to be sure. So when they actually got around to fighting, it seemed House 9 and their allies were vastly outnumbered, and then you had a prominent House 9 player flip over to House 19. That was pretty unfortunate for House 9. They sustained quite a few losses, not to mention they were still fighting House 11. Now, prior to House 19 officially declaring war on House 9, House 10 had allied itself with House 9, which meant that once House 19 made the declaration official, House 10 was in essence dragged into the conflict with House 9. However, a few short days later, and after making significant gains, after House 19 making significant gains, peace was once again brokered between House 9 and House 19. And I've also heard reports of House 15 jumping in and joining the fray until they learned in joining the fray in the fight against House 19 until they learned that House 10 was also allied with House 9 and fighting House 19. Now you'd think word would get around faster, but maybe it doesn't. I've heard reports before that players and factions, higher ups in certain houses even, weren't aware of all of the political alliances. So apparently once House 15 learned that House 10 was involved, and the relationship between House 15 and House 10 is testy at best, they decided to withdraw from that. So after a couple of hours of being at war, a couple hours of House 15 being at war with House 19, a peace deal was arranged. So that leaves us with House 10, possibly fighting House 19. I haven't heard one way or the other for sure. I've heard some blanket statements made about House 19 making peace, but it really never specifically referenced House 10, given the fact that House 19 hasn't actually pushed into the Iberian Peninsula too enthusiastically. I mean, there are 3 parishes in there, but I believe House 19, the Alliance, has lost some territory in there. I don't really want to call it, but you should be aware that there is a possible conflict between House 19 and House 10. House 11 and House 9, of course, are still going after it, and from what I'm hearing, there was never really... how should I put this? And the word is now, at least from House 11's side of the story, that only their less than stellar factions weren't attacking House 9. Now, in previous videos, I mentioned that there is a possibility of peace between House 9 and House 11. It looks very unlikely now that will happen, given the fact that House 9 is pretty much at peace now with House 19, so they can refocus their efforts on House 11. Interestingly enough, I mean, if House 11 is as good of allies as they claim with House 17, if House 17 is looking to get into a war, House 9 is right on their doorstep here in Africa. And speaking of House 17, I forgot to reiterate when I was covering alliances, I forgot about House 4. They are also allied with House 17. Another thing of interest was when House 1 sent some of its players down to Central America to flip one of these counties. I believe it could have been this one. It was one of these really small counties. And after House 1 took it, House 10 took it from House 1, but that didn't result in a war, as House 15 once again owns it. And moving over to a rather more personal area of the game, House 15 has declared war on me. I was trying to be a neutral player in this world, to report on events as impartially as pretty much humanly possible, and you try to make it personal. So now I might have some color commentary on good old House 15. I'm not really against House 15. They seem to they seem to be pretty honorable in what they're doing. I wouldn't consider it backstabbing. It's just when with my dealings with them, they seem a little incompetent. Yeah, if your leadership relies entirely on your house marshal to make peace with a single player who's only a gentleman, I think we can safely say that at least one faction general should probably not be a faction general. That's too much of a burden to place on a house marshal. You expect that house marshal to actually go to individual players who really control no political capital on the map and make peace with them. So that's just nonsense, and I really wish I could stop wasting time on it. People have contacted me about it, asking me to comment on it, because I made an ill-advised video on trolling one of the players, and I'm just making it worse by talking about it, so I should stop right now and try to focus on something more interesting, more important. But unfortunately, I seem to have actually run out of things that happened in this past week. I was just going to take a look at this county here. I noticed it's flipped. Bolivia has flipped from House 10. And if you take a look at the player who controls the capital of Santa Cruz, he's a crown prince with only 2 villages. And I think that's highly suspect. Probably got banned. That's probably what happened there. I know that's what happened with that player who carded himself up to Crown Prince within 2 hours of this world opening. That player was banned off the map. And it was not for doing that, for carding up in 2 hours, but apparently for other account infractions. If I was to speculate, I'd say it likely has something to do with sharing accounts, but that's just an educated guess, let's say. I don't want to throw out slanderous accusations against players when I really haven't heard either side of the story. So, pretty much sums it up. There is your world this week. As always, if you believe you have information that would help me in reporting this week in review as accurately as possible, feel free to contact me in game. As you can see by this video, my name is David Spy in game. That is one word. I've seen people spell it as 2 words. It is only 1 word. There is no space. So if you can't find me, you might have put a space in the word. I do read your mails, even if I try to reply to all of them. But if I haven't replied, I still want you to rest assured that I do read them all. And I do appreciate you taking an interest in this series. If nobody took an interest in it, obviously I'd stop doing it. So I'd like to thank you for the time you take to watch this and make it worth my while as well as yours. So farewell for now, and I hope to see you next time.
Stronghold Kingdoms. What will you fight for? Play now for free.